Hello, welcome to the Everyday Outdoorsman, a podcast dedicated to the average, everyday outdoors man and outdoors woman. Whether you're a veteran hunter or fisherman, or somebody completely new to the outdoor world, there's something here for everybody. So come on in, get comfortable, and enjoy the show. Good evening, everybody. We are here for another short episode, joined by our buddies Matt and Tyler. And this evening, we're going to talk about something that they know a whole lot more about than I do, and that is e-scouting. That's a pretty relatively new concept in the, I guess, you know, I mean, how long has a lot of these apps been out now?
It has to be in the last 5. I mean, I'm sure they've been around before, but as far as being mainstream, it has to be in the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had Onyx for about 5 years.
I mean, obviously people have been using topo maps for a long time, but
yeah.
But as far as being accessible on your phone, looking at, you know,
everything's accessible now.
Oh yeah.
You know, some people can't look in the woods for looking at their phone.
Oh yeah, I'm one of them.
I
can drain a battery.
I've been guilty of looking at the phone and seeing the hind end on a deer walk by. Like, what was that?
Tell us a little bit about what you guys do, what you're looking for, and features that you use, and how they help you.
Tyler does more than I do. I mean, I do some. I do a lot of looking at maps. I don't get as much time to spend in the woods as he does, but
it all depends on the year, what we're hunting.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, we're talking
whitetail or deer and ducks, or and
we hunt pretty much hills here.
Yeah,
you know, we're not in the mountains quite yet, but we're close to it.
Yeah,
and you know, so as far as me, the terrains I look for, the number one thing I look for is a saddle.
Yeah,
I'm always looking. You know, if I'm looking for a good saddle between 2 high points, you know, especially close to water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's my favorite thing. Get on the backside of a saddle. It's an easy to find natural funnel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can about guarantee you sit in a saddle all day, something's going to walk.
To my knowledge, unless there's a saddle on our hunting property that I don't know about, we've got a stand in every one of them.
Do you? Yeah. I mean, it's just too easy. I mean, and you know, it's easy to find on a topo map. You know, find 2 circles and go between them. You know?
Well, tell everybody what a saddle is.
A saddle
in actual.
I guess the easiest way to describe it's just a low point between two high points. You know, if you have a ridge running, you've got your 2 highest points of elevation. Just looking for that low spot between them. That just, you know, if you were looking at a hill and you're deciding where to cross it, the lowest point's what you'd pick. You know, deer's gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, so we pick that low spot on a ridge, and, you know, that's a saddle. What about you, Tyler? Is that what you look for?
Yeah, it's probably the same thing. And if you're, you know, when you go out to hunt that day and you say, this is where I want to hunt, and the morning rises up and you look around, you could find more vegetation, more food, so you drop a pin, and you know that that's where you want to be, or you don't want to be. That might not be the spot.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of cancel out.
Yeah.
That's where I don't want to be, or you want to move to water, or you want to move to open field, or edge of a field, or or where public to private. I'm that, you know, you want to make sure you're not on, if you're on public land, you don't want to go to private. So I always hunt that. You know, download the offline if you can't get the service. And we check, depending on, like we said, if it's turkey season, that helps out the most if you're on public land, so you don't know you're
it's easy
crossing into private.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that I've been using Onyx for probably 2 years now, I would say. And the one thing that I like about it is it gives me the ability to get a good idea of where I want to hunt a place if I've only got a day or two to hunt and I've never been there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's easy to eliminate spots, too.
Yeah. Nothing beats boots on the ground scouting.
No,
but it really helps you pick into some good areas. I use it a lot for waterfowl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we use a ton for waterfowl.
Yeah. You know, the topo maps don't transition to underwater. You can't look at water depths, but with most of these apps, or just Google Earth,
Mm-hmm.
you can see the shallow spots
Mm-hmm.
and the deep spots,
Yeah.
and where you want to be in those terms, and cover nearby, and
Yeah.
and things like that,
And how to access those places.
Yeah.
Where
That's
am
the
I going
big
to
is
park?
how do you get in? Yeah.
Where am I going to park? Am I taking a kayak? Am I taking a canoe? Am I going in on back? Everything on my back? Stuff like that. Just making those kind of decisions.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you all are still doing it. You all were wearing the canoe out there for.
Oh yeah, we
For a
were.
while.
We switched to kayaks now. we thought they'd be a lighter weight, and we've ended up with these big.
I
heavy,
enjoyed the canoe. I liked the canoe, but we got rid of it too soon.
two big heavy kayaks now that we do it with. But
I've been in the canoe with Matt one time. And I don't know about you, but I thought that was as sketchy as you can.
It was cold. We were chasing a goose and couldn't find it.
That was what? That's a little kayak, isn't it?
The canoe?
The canoe.
Yeah, the canoe was pretty small.
But do you have the stabilizers on it?
No.
No stabilizers?
No, yeah. I mean,
No. He shot a goose that swam across the lake. So we took off across to find it.
You got to get your bearings before you get on there. You don't got the sea legs for the canoe. It's a little tough.
Yeah. We made stabilizer for it, but made it too slow. I mean, I could, I might
tracking.
I might not get wet, but I ain't gonna ever get there.
Now, one thing that I really like about the hunting apps, and there's several out there, and I don't know if all of them have it, but with Onyx, finding out who owns private land, that's a big plus in this day and time.
Even if it's just recovering a deer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just trying to get back there and pick your deer up, it can be a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then getting permission, obviously it helps to know who you're talking to when you walk up to a door, but.
Yeah. I haven't, of course, I live in a neighborhood, so I don't have to worry about somebody knocking on my door to hunt.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of creepy how easy it is to get a name and and address
and a phone number on a lot of them.
And a phone number.
There's some phone numbers right there.
I haven't been able to bring myself to call somebody yet. I think a face to face is the way to go. But nowadays you have the ability, because of an app on your phone, find out who owns the property, where they live, and their full name. A little scary in some respects.
But like I said, I like to use a lot just because, I've got 2 kids working, I don't have a lot of time to go out and spend 3 days scouting to hunt for 2 days, like those type of, so it can just save you so much time just sitting on your phone, staring at it, or on your computer, looking at topo maps, if you're going deer hunting. And you can just eliminate so many things so fast,
Right.
And always looking for like the edge habitat. That's the stuff I like to look for, is where a tree line meets or even just 2 different types of edge. You can see it on the maps. You can see where if they've done a burn, you can see where the edge of that burn is. Or if there's a, whatever it is. 2 different types of vegetation coming together. Deer seem to congregate there. I don't know why they like it, but turkeys do the same thing. But But you can just, key in on spots that once you get there, you've got ideas in your brain. When you're taking off out of the truck, I know where I'm headed. It's not just a blind wander around, hope I find some sign. You know.
Yeah. What, if you all were to look at what you use your apps for, what do you think you use them the most?
The most, like you said, is probably public to private, and then knowing who owns that private. Also safety. Like if I know Matt has the Onyx app, I send him the pin, say, hey man, I'm going to hunt here. He might be 100 yards the other direction, but he knows where I'm at. And that way you can communicate that way. Probably those 2. Sending majority of waypoints, just sending waypoints constantly.
Yeah.
And saying, what do you think about this? And then I could give you my 2 cents, and you might take that. I say, we'll move down here. Or you could, if you go down a little further, there's a waterway, or there's more vegetation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I think is overlooked on it a lot, and it was an absolute lifesaver for me and that deer on the wall right there. You can set the app to mark a path of where you travel. So if you're tracking a deer and the blood trail stops, you can look, see the direction that the deer was going, and get an idea of where it's probably going ahead of you, and maybe pick up more blood or even find the animal. And that was the case with him. I lost blood, which it was odd because he was a rifle shot deer. Normally, I'm not going to say that you don't have to track a deer shot with a rifle, but generally not too far.
Not much tracking.
But I followed his blood trail and lost it, and I was able to go back to where I shot him, start the tracking markers, and then when the blood trail stopped, I was able to look and see, okay, this is the direction he was going, and it looks like
make the most sense. He goes this way.
Yeah. And it worked. There's so many features in these things.
Oh yeah, you got to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, if I got an arrow kill and I know where the arrow's at, I drop the pin.
Yeah,
and then on the waypoints nowadays you can pick what it is. You could pick a tree stand. You could pick an arrow. You could drop the blood. You could put water, food plot, access, trucks, everything now. So it's not just one red dot.
Yeah, there's like 80.
It's color coded. It's everything. You could put a picture on there now.
Yeah.
So if your buck was dead here and you found it here, you could put a picture. I can send you a waypoint of my buck I killed here.
Yeah.
And then you might want to hunt that.
Yeah.
There's all type. And then if you're on a desktop, the 3D version on the desktop's a lot better, I think, than it is on the phone because there's a little more features on the desktop.
Yeah.
And it's just the 3D's new to me. But it actually feels like you're there, and you could feel like how do you want to work around this hilltop, and what's flat and what's not, and
if only they can get a street view.
That'd be sweet, wouldn't it?
if only they could do that, then it would be.
I will say, even pick the tree I'm climbing.
The one thing I don't like about Onyx in itself is the weather. I don't think they have the weather down properly to me. Certain free apps have better wind. It shows you how the wind's blowing for the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
And so if I drop my pin, my satellite here, it'll show that the wind's blowing in my face, or maybe I need to readjust. And I feel like Onyx hasn't captured that properly.
Weather doesn't even show up on mine.
There you go.
It doesn't even.
I need to know. All I need to know is the wind, really.
Yeah, I don't even know why they have that feature on there because it doesn't work. It's not even close. I'm like, what? 73 in November?
Yeah, I go to Weather Underground for my
weather
and.
I think we both use AccuWeather.
Yeah,
I think that's what we
AccuWeather.
Yeah. Yeah, but the pros far outweigh the cons.
Yeah.
And there's like what's it called, HuntWise?
Yeah,
I think is another app.
And they might be good too. I don't know.
Well, and one of the guys that I hunt with uses HuntWise as his app.
Yeah,
and the two are able to send waypoints.
Oh, that's pretty
to one another. So even though he's using a different app, he can still through his app send it to Onyx to me, and we're able to. Yeah. To make things work.
That's good.
You know.
I know Bone Collector, that group had an app. Their weather was really, really good. I think all of them have free trials. And if you don't want to pay, Google's always there. Google Earth never let you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still there. You can't send your waypoints and all that, but you still drop waypoints for yourself.
The hunting game overall has changed. So much. A lot with you guys. We were talking earlier. You know, I've been hunting now for almost 25 years. Y'all said you were at like year 11 or something like that. You know, we had none of this stuff when I was in high school hunting. You know, we didn't even have Google Earth was only available on desktop.
Yeah.
And it used up so much computer memory that we never used it because it would slow the whole computer
Yeah.
down. It's nuts that you have access to that much information.
There's so much stuff now.
On a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, in 30 seconds, I can pick any WMA in the state, have a topo map pulled up, all the parking access. You know,
if
I
you know
can know anything and everything about it.
You can look up the kill record, not kill record, but how many kills have been on that WMA if that's the place you want to be.
Yeah, you can see all that.
Yeah.
If you know you're not going to have a signal there, you can upload. You can download that map so you still have it.
Yep.
Even if you're not there.
Yeah.
Our hunting lease that we don't have service on 3/4 of it, so it's nice to be able to have.
Have a map.
That map. It's still, the GPS still operates.
Yeah.
So I can still see where I am and things like that. But that's another lifesaver. Back this spring when I was turkey hunting there.
It's easy to get lost turkey hunting.
Yeah. Well, I was just the turkeys weren't gobbling, so I was trying to cover a lot of ground. Mm-hmm. So I was really pushing our property boundary, walking around the edge of it. And it was nice to be able to
know
that I'm on mine, or, if I keep going out this ridge, our property line ends. So I'm going to have to find a way around that to get back on, to stay on our place. And, it's been a game changer.
Oh yeah,
for sure. In all aspects, which is a big advantage. And in a way, kind of a disadvantage, because now it's so prevalent. You're not the only person.
Oh yeah,
that is able to.
That's always is. You think you found this secret spot on the back of the WMA and get back there and there's 3 other tree stands. Yep. It's like, there ain't no way they figured that out too.
Yep.
I think that's the new thing now is, with this COVID and pandemic going on, more people want to try new things.
Oh, yeah.
So, duck hunting last year was rough. Yeah. So many, like you said, people can look up this WMA.
Oh, yeah.
And you show up and there's 40 people and you're like, what happened? Mm-hmm. It's hard to go fishing nowadays anymore, too, because there's so many people.
Yeah. Well, and that was kind of what spurred this podcast on is, just seeing the uptick in new hunters. Mm-hmm. And so many websites and podcasts are either very advanced or so product driven.
Oh, yeah.
That it leaves people thinking that, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. But anybody can. Yeah. And everybody should.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think so.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Hunter numbers are going down every year.
Yeah.
So any kind of uptick in new hunters is a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Anybody can do it. I mean, like me and Tyler, both adult onset hunters, Yep. Neither one of us grew up hunting, didn't grow up in hunting families. At 20 years old, we both decided we wanted to start hunting. And that was, like I said, 10 years ago. YouTube was around, but we didn't really... there wasn't a ton of stuff on it yet. And
yeah, the content wasn't there that's there now.
So we just basically went out and bought $50 bows off of Craigslist, started shooting at a mattress in the backyard.
You could do Craigslist, eBay, pawn shops. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It took us 4 years before we could put a deer on the ground, but we were hooked. The first time we went out, we was hooked. I mean, it didn't matter if we killed anything. I mean, I just loved seeing the woods, being in the outdoors, hiking, So, and then it's consumed me ever since. So.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
That's probably the 3 things you could use is YouTube, a hunting podcast, and like Onyx, Google Earth, or something like that to figure things out. And you can really learn a lot. Mm-hmm. And you get the confidence to go out and try it. Like we talked about before with tree stands and everything, you might be scared of heights, but you don't need to be in a tree. I've killed deer on the ground. I've killed deer next to a hay bale. Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah. Well, and there's a lot of things that it is very easy to waste money on when it comes to hunting.
Oh,
a lot of things that, a lot of things that you don't need. But at the same time, there are certain things and, these apps that you have to pay for, and they're not overly expensive.
No.
Are worth their weight in gold to somebody that's new.
Especially public land hunting. I mean, I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
There's even spots on public land you can't hunt. They'll tell you on that you can't be there.
Yeah, there's safety zones and, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're probably, like you said, parking access. If you don't know where to park, you drive up to a public access.
It sounds simple, but...
It's not, yeah. You don't know where it's at.
Sometimes these WMAs aren't real clear marked on where's the
park. Gosh, yeah. I've hunted wildlife management areas in, like, Pike County and Harlan County.
Yeah.
Where the access is a wide gravel spot off the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
If you look really careful, there's like a little 4x6 sign.
A little yellow sign.
Tacked to a tree.
And if it's not pulled down or shot at, you might not know it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, any parting thoughts or anything like that before we cut out of here?
I mean, just spend some time, if you're going to get into the topo maps and stuff, it's kind of hard to explain on a podcast, without showing the lines and stuff, but spend some time learning what the lines mean on a topo. And once they click in your head what they mean, it's just like looking at a 3D picture to me.
And that's where YouTube comes in.
Yeah, YouTube.
You can learn how to read
And once you learn, you can just look at a topo map and you can tell, how steep a hillside is, how high a ridge is,
It's definitely a game changer. Yeah, the elevation change, you can tell that on your phone.
Yeah.
Actually being there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, be able to find those benches and stuff on the ridge and, like I said, saddles, keying in on saddles and stuff, but just really understanding how a topo map works makes a big difference.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, thank you all for listening in. Keep an eye open for our next full-length episode that will be happening next week. So until then, stay safe, have fun, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Everyday Outdoorsman. It's listeners like you that help keep this podcast going and keep it improving. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and like us on Facebook to keep up with the latest episodes. And until next time, we'll see you later.